The sun hung low over Santa Monica Pier, painting the ocean gold and casting long shadows across the bustling boardwalk. 16-year-old Lila Carter gripped the wheels of her chair, her knuckles pale against the worn rubber grips. The pier was alive with the hum of life, families slurping ice cream, couples snapping selfies, and street performers juggling for tips. Lila loved it here. It was her escape, her sanctuary, where the rhythm of the waves drowned out the pain of her world. But today, the air felt sharp, like a blade waiting to cut. Lila had been born with spina bifida, her legs a silent rebellion against her dreams of running along the shore. Yet, her spirit was fire, fierce, uncontainable. She'd taught herself to navigate the pier's uneven planks, to smile through strangers' pitying glances, to find joy in the small things, the salty breeze, the cry of gulls, the way her best friend Mia painted her nails bright purple to match the sunset. Today, though, Mia was late, and Lila felt the weight of being alone. She didn't see them at first. 3 boys, maybe 17, swaggering toward her with the kind of confidence that reeked of cruelty. Their leader, a wiry kid with a shaved head and a smirk that curled like smoke, locked eyes on her. "Move, cripple," he spat, kicking a cloud of sand toward her wheels. Lila froze, her heart thudding. The other 2 laughed, egging him on, their voices a chorus of malice. "What's wrong? Can't run away," one jeered, shoving her chair. It tipped slightly, and Lila's breath caught as she gripped the armrests to steady herself. "I'm not in your way," she said, her voice steady but small, like a candle flickering in a storm. She tried to wheel back, but the sand clogged her wheels, trapping her. The leader stepped closer, his shadow swallowing her. "You shouldn't even be here," he sneered, and before she could react, he kicked her chair hard. The jolt sent a shock of pain through her spine, and her phone clattered to the ground, screen cracking. The crowd around them seemed to blur, faces turning away, unwilling to intervene. Tears stung Lila's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not for them. The boys circled her now, their laughter a cage. Lila's mind raced. Where was Mia? Why wasn't anyone helping? She felt small, smaller than she'd ever felt, her world shrinking to the sound of their taunts and the ache in her chest. Then, a new sound cut through the air, a low, rumbling growl that seemed to rise from the earth itself. The boys froze, their smirks faltering. Lila looked up, and her breath caught. A sea of leather and chrome flooded the pier. Motorcycles, dozens of them, rolled in slow, deliberate formation, their engines snarling like a pack of wolves. The riders were a mix of grizzled veterans and younger rebels, their faces hard but their eyes burning with purpose. At their head was a man with a salt and pepper beard, his leather vest patched with a skull and wings. He dismounted, his boots thudding against the wooden planks, and the crowd parted like the Red Sea. "What's going on here?" His voice was gravel, deep and commanding. The leader of the boys took a step back, his bravado crumbling. "And nothing, man, just messing around." The biker's eyes flicked to Lila, then to the cracked phone in the sand. He crouched beside her, his presence a shield. "You okay, kid?" he asked softly, his voice a stark contrast to the menace he radiated toward the boys. Lila nodded, her throat too tight to speak. She didn't know this man, but in that moment, he felt like the father she'd lost to cancer 3 years ago. He picked up her phone, dusted it off, and handed it to her. Then he stood, turning to the boys, who were now visibly shaking. "You think it's fun to pick on someone who can't fight back?" he said, his voice low but slicing through the air. The crowd was silent now, watching. The other bikers dismounted, forming a semicircle around the scene, their presence overwhelming. The boys looked like they wanted to vanish into the sand. "We didn't mean," the leader stammered, but the biker cut him off. "You meant every second of it," he said. "But you're gonna learn something today." He gestured to Lila. "This girl's got more strength in her than all 3 of you combined. And you're gonna apologize. Now." The boys hesitated, glancing at the wall of bikers, the crowd, the weight of their own shame. The leader mumbled a half-hearted, "Sorry," but the biker stepped closer, towering over him. Louder, "Like you mean it." "I'm sorry," the boy said, his voice cracking. The other 2 echoed him, their faces red, their eyes on the ground. Lila watched, her heart a tangle of relief and anger. She didn't want their apologies, she wanted them to understand the hurt they'd caused, the way their words had clawed at her soul. The biker turned back to Lila. "Name's Jack," he said. "These are my crew, the Iron Wings. We ride for people who need us. You need us now." Lila swallowed, her voice finding its strength. "I just want to go home," she said. Jack nodded, and with a gentleness that belied his rough exterior, he helped clear the sand from her wheels. As the bikers escorted Lila off the pier, the crowd erupted in applause, a wave of support that warmed her like the sun. Mia arrived, breathless and apologetic, her eyes widening at the sight of the motorcycles. "Lila, what happened?" she gasped, but Lila just shook her head, a small smile breaking through. "I'll tell you later," she said. The ride home was surreal. Jack and a few others rode alongside Lila and Mia, their bikes a protective convoy through the streets of Santa Monica. At her small apartment, Jack knelt beside her again. "You're tougher than most of us, kid," he said. "Don't let anyone tell you different." He handed her a small patch, a miniature version of the Iron Wings emblem. "You're one of us now." That night, Lila lay in bed, the patch clutched in her hand. The day's events replayed in her mind, the cruelty, the fear, but also the unexpected kindness. She thought of her dad, how he'd always told her she was unstoppable. For the first time in a long time, she believed it. The next week, Lila returned to the pier, Mia at her side. She was nervous, her hands trembling on her wheels, but she refused to let fear win. Word of the incident had spread, and the pier felt different now, warmer, safer. A few locals approached her, offering smiles and words of support. One woman, a vendor selling handmade bracelets, pressed a beaded strand into Lila's hand. "You're an inspiration," she said. Lila didn't feel like an inspiration. She felt like a girl who'd been scared and hurt but had found a spark of courage she didn't know she had. That spark grew when she learned the Iron Wings had started a community program, teaching kids about respect and standing up to bullies. Jack had invited her to speak at their first event, and though the idea terrified her, she said yes. The event was held on the pier, under the same golden sun. Lila wheeled to the front of a small crowd, her voice shaky at first but growing stronger. "I used to think being in this chair made me less," she said. "But it doesn't. It's not about what you can't do, it's about what you choose to do." The crowd cheered, and Jack gave her a nod, his eyes proud. As the sun set, Lila looked out at the ocean, the waves whispering her strength back to her. The bullies had faded into insignificance, their cruelty no match for the community that had risen around her. She wasn't just Lila Carter anymore. She was unstoppable, a spark in a sea of fire, and she'd never let anyone dim her light again.